How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the BAHDCAST. I'm your host, Keith Demolder. We are in the second edition, week number 2, if you will. We had the first edition with the Bahds Co-General Manager, Connor Hines, the Director of Player Development, as well as we're giving him. I'm the Director of Social Media and Outreach here at the Bahds. So just want to say hello again. Thank you for joining us for another edition. We appreciate you guys watching the first edition because we weren't sure exactly how many people were going to watch it. The second edition, definitely going to be a lot more, I don't want to say more robust, but we're going to talk about a lot of different topics. We have a whole host of stuff. When I say we, I mean me. It's just me on this podcast today. Connor will be joining us intermittently throughout the year on the podcast, but it will mainly be me hosting these things. We'll have some guests here or there. Might have the commish, Nick Beach of the league. Everything, by the way, folks, as we kind of mentioned in our first podcast, the podcast is based on the baseball Bahds, me and Connor's fantasy team from the Winterfell Fantasy League with me and a bunch of our high school friends that play here in San Diego. It's a dynasty league on Fantrax, which we'll be showing you plenty of clips from. And this is a podcast that has been kind of years in the making. I love baseball, but fantasy baseball is definitely my new obsession. And so the BAHDCAST is a podcast talking about the Bahds, about our fantasy team, but just about fantasy thoughts in general, dynasty thoughts especially, as you know, the yearly, the redraft for baseball. It's fun, but it is nothing like playing Dynasty. Dynasty is a whole new beast, and it's something that I take a lot of pride in. It's so much fun and so interesting. So on the pod today, as I said, it's going to be robust. We're going to have a ton more. Obviously appreciated what Connor brought us last week. Just want to give a quick shout to the commish himself, Nick Beach, for getting me this Worcester Red Sox jersey of none other than Bahds' second baseman, Chrissy Campbell. I love this jersey. It is amazing. The Worcester Red Sox, the AAA affiliate of the Boston Red Sox. So either way, got to give him a shout. That's why I'm wearing this jersey today. I will be wearing mostly jerseys on the pod. I usually wear a lot of like nice outfits and clothing and stuff, but I want to make this more fan-themed. So wearing the Chrissy Campbell jersey because I am predicting good luck. We'll talk about Chris Campbell in a little bit, but just getting down the rundown of episode 2 of the podcast. So we're going to start off with some general MLB thoughts. We're going to talk about the Padres, obviously. We're going to talk about spring training. The first day of spring training wrapped up today as I'm recording it. You'll probably be watching this tomorrow on Sunday. So it'll be the second full day of teams in action. But spring training is here. Spring is here. I am so excited. We'll get to some thoughts about general Major League Baseball, the offseason, spring training starting, things like that. We'll talk about general fantasy thoughts, whether that be dark horses or just general kind of feelings on certain guys. We'll talk about the Padres. We'll talk about free agents, roster predictions, the minor league dungeon, as I call it. And then we will talk mainly about the Winterfell League. And we have a couple of different rankings. So we will go through the power rankings to start. We will rank every team in the league, which shouldn't surprise anybody. Then we'll go into some fantasy. We'll do the best minor league system rankings, and then we'll talk about the best off-season moves in the league as well, and some trades that have happened. We'll do a Bahds tier list, which we already posted on Twitter, but we'll go more in depth into that, and then just kind of round it out with some general thoughts on the league overall. And hell, we got a week and a couple days until the first-year player draft. That'll be the focus of the next pod. But for now, we're just going to talk general MLB thoughts. So getting into it, breaking it down, we got the free agent signings. I put on here the Kansas City Royals, which we'll get to in a second. So I know it's kind of random, but we'll get there. Trades and injuries, and then the closer rankings. So first, overall thoughts. I mean, I meant to put spring training on here on the graphic, but spring training is here. MLB is back, and I'm excited as ever. Some free agent signings that have been pretty big time, and some that caught us off guard, some that definitely changed the complexion of the fantasy league. Definitely changed a little bit of the complexion of the Bahds, and some that still have to change. So as of right now, we saw a couple guys on the Bahds change hands. So we saw Marcus Semien. He got traded. Wasn't necessarily a free agent, but he got traded to the Mets from the Rangers. We saw Pete Alonso sign with Baltimore. And other than that, I mean, most of our hitters remained exactly the same in the same places. They've been on multi-year deals or they're still on their rookie contracts. The one big name that we have yet to see be moved or sign with anyone is Lucas Giolito, our mid-season acquisition from last year. That's giving me a little bit of trepidation, so to speak. Gio, currently right now projected to be a 9.11 fantasy points per game. Still hasn't signed with anybody. I mean, he is the top free agent pitcher left as it stands right now. So I'm a little bit weary because he still has not been signed by a team, and what I'm thinking is either A, he's in a bidding war where multiple teams want him and he's just going to pick his highest price, right? That is at least the hope. Or folks could be viewing it as, oh, well, he's busted. We don't want him. He's older, and we'll get him on the cheap, so he might go to a bad team. I'm not exactly sure what's going to shake out with him, but the start of spring training's here. He's not been signed, and that is a little bit worrying for us, but he's still a talented pitcher. He's still a guy that can get double digits. I'm not too worried about that, but we will see. We'll get to this in a little bit. Griffin Canning, newest Padre, another free agent acquisition that I'm excited about. Another one, we'll get into this as well, but we do have a couple free agents, guys from the KBO, mainly Cody Ponce, who I like, Foster Griffin as well, and Ryan Weiss of Houston and Washington fame. Both of them, I'm looking forward to seeing what they do. We dropped Drew Anderson. He was in the hype video. We had to drop him. We had to bring on some other guys with a little bit more upside, a little bit more youth. Anderson, that's the whole thing. These free agent acquisitions, getting right into it, right? We saw, we had hope for our Detroit Tigers because we have Troy Melton on the squad. And the Tigers then go out and sign Justin Verlander and Framber Valdez. Framber Valdez, obviously, one of the best pitchers in the league. Verlander, maybe a little bit past his prime. I don't know if I would have given him that type of money, but hey, reunited and it feels so good. We'll see what happens. But yeah, did not like that because Anderson, who could have been in the rotation, he's now a long reliever. Troy Melton, our minors guy, he has minors eligibility. We thought, all right, he had a bunch of long relief performances last year. He had 2 20-point games when he started, but he didn't start. He didn't get in the rotation. So they used him long reliever. He got like a 6 or 8, per game kind of thing, which was good. I liked it, but not exactly what we were hoping for. The hope is that he would have slid into the rotation and that they wouldn't have gone out and gotten a Framber. But when you could get a Framber, you get a Framber. So either way, taking a look at some of these free agent signings, as we mentioned, Pete Alonso going to Baltimore. The fences going back is something that kind of worries me for him. He's still a power guy. He can hit to all fields. I don't see any worry with that per se. But we'll see what he does in Baltimore. He already hit his first home run in spring training, so I like that. Going down the list, Dylan Cease going to Toronto. That's a ridiculous amount of money. I don't think it was great. 7 years, that's a lot of years, and he wasn't all that great, especially in the playoffs. We'll see. I mean, definitely talented. He can strike guys out. He's got good stuff, but he also gets knocked around a little bit. Schwarber goes back to the Phils. He's making $30 a year. You love to see that. Again, a couple guys. Again, not many of our guys are really getting signed, but I do like what the Jays are doing. That's going to help Cody Ponce, especially with that run production. They did lose a couple bats, but Kazuma Okamoto coming in from Japan, he'll be good. You got Cease and Tyler Rogers, also good arms. Not too worried about that. What I did love about the offseason is that we saw so many closers go to teams who already have closers. We'll get to that in a little bit as well, but those are a couple of the free agent transactions that I love to see because they then dilute the value of other teams' relief pitchers in the league. And I'm like, yes, because they have these amazing relievers and we do not. So I am not, not stoked that they have him, but now a little bit more stoked because there's more competition, etc. We'll get to that in a little bit. Either way, free agency, it's been kind of crazy. Kyle Tucker going to the Dodgers. Are we surprised? No, he's making $60 million a year, 4 years, which isn't a lot of time. Bregman going to the Cubs. That you kind of see. I feel like the Cubs and the Sox, they usually, that's kind of like the main teams that they go to, right? Excuse me, the high spenders. Ranger Suarez on the Red Sox, I like it as well. They really wanted to kind of thin out their rotation. They had a ton of guys. Dickie Fitz, who's now with St. Louis, and Dustin May as well. And the Sox have plenty of young arms too. So I like the direction they took as well. Robert Suarez, again, I like it for fantasy purposes that he goes to the Braves. I do not like it as a Padres fan that he goes to the Braves. We have Mason Miller. That's great. I'm not too worried in terms of the closer role, but for him, you're making $15 million a year. I would not scoff at that at all. But if he's not the guy, why wouldn't you want to be the guy? You're saying the Pods couldn't spend $15 million a year to keep him, or at least like 12, and be the closer? I don't know. It just seems a little strange for the Braves to employ two closers. Same thing with the Tigers as well. From a team perspective, yeah, you want the best arms you can in the bullpen to try and compete with the Dodgers in the playoffs, but I don't know. Just seems like a little bit of waste of money. Either way, Tatsuya Imai, he goes to Houston. Love that deal. Bramber Valdez, as I mentioned. Bo Bichette going to the Mets. They are crucifying this man. This man's got no defense. He's basically a glorified DH, same as Juan Soto. But hey, he can hit for average. I don't hate it, but we'll see. Sir Anthony Dominguez. Can we cue the clip?
Give me that.
What?
Give me that.
My food?
I'm joking.
Yeah, we all should have got that. Unfortunately, Travis got that before we even knew he was going to be a guy. Dominguez, he was playing for Toronto last year. Now he's going to the Sox, where he's most likely going to be the closer. But hey, anything can happen before day one, before opening day. So you never know. Adrian Hauser, our former bod, now on the Giants. Luke Weaver going to the Mets, so he'll be a guy. We'll see. Ryan Helsley going to be on Baltimore, so he's most likely going to be the closer. So you saw a lot of guys that had no value, like Helsley for Zane's team. Now they got value, and that's an unfortunate reality too. That as much as we're so stoked that certain guys, had their value decrease because there's too many arms in the bullpen. We see a guy like Helsley now get his role increased because he was an absolute bum on the Mets. So now he gets second life, and unfortunately, Zane's going to reap the rewards from that. Some other free agent signings. We'll get this when we talk about the Pods, but Nick Castellanos, love it. I have no bad things to say about it. $780,000 for a beast. I mean, this guy can hit for pop. Maybe some question marks on his character, but dude's never been arrested. Guy, yeah, he might be kind of, a little bit problematic, not super professional always, but I don't think he's a horrible person. As far as we can tell, we don't know him. We don't know the inner workings of his life, but as far as I can tell, there's plenty of personalities on the pod squad, so I like the signing from a strictly baseball point of view. Paul Sewald going to Arizona for $1.5 million. It's not nothing, but a lot of these guys getting the league minimum. Pods getting Herman Marquez for $1.75 million. Luis Garcia, regular, not junior, going to the Mets. Scott Barlow to the A's. Jordan Romano to the Angels. Jason Foley to the Giants. So Taylor Rogers going back to the Twins. A lot of these kind of like low stakes relievers. Not a ton of guys getting a lot of money. Luis Rengifo going to the Brewers, and that's speaking of big moves as we're kind of going down this list, going to the trades. We'll get to the Kansas City Royals bit in a bit. I will explain what I feel about that. But a lot of things happening in the offseason, trades being one of them. I mean, that Boston trade was pretty crazy, and it just feels like the Brewers, they don't really care about what's going on. Like they will ship guys. It doesn't even matter. Like they're just going to ship whoever they want at this point. Which, hey, more power to you. It's not my team. I think let's just go down the trades as we see here. So, looking at some of these trades, I guess we'll start from the beginning of the year, right? Because there's some stuff that happened before, but actually, my apologies. Let's go on back to, let's just do November 1, right? Or let's do December 1. How about that? Maybe November 1. After the World Series, right? So, not much really. You start in November. You see some guys get traded here or there, but nothing really of importance. You see a Andrew Kittredge going to Baltimore. Could he be a guy? Maybe a setup guy. Who knows? I think Tommy might have him on his team. And a bunch of low-level trades. Yondris Gomez, Tanner Murray, Everson Pereira. You saw Grayson Rodriguez go from Baltimore to the Angels for Taylor Ward. Very strange trade. I'm not sure why that happened, but Taylor Ward is a nice bat. He'll help out Baltimore. So I like that for our boy Pete Alonso to perhaps get driven in or drive him in. We'll see where he bats in the order. But I like the Orioles offense for sure. Another trade you see, as we kind of mentioned, Marcus Semien getting traded for Brandon Nimmo. Very lateral move. A couple of guys that are a little bit older. Semien obviously way older than Nimmo. But Nimmo, a couple of guys that maybe had bad 2025s. They didn't want to be retained. There were some question marks about Semien and Corey Seager. It appeared, at least when they had an interview with Seager recently, that I want to call it bad blood, but I wouldn't call it good blood. They didn't seem to, I don't know. He was asked about him. He was kind of a little bit tight-lipped about it. Seems a little bit strange for a guy you played on the infield with, but regardless, I like it for Semien. I think the offense for New York is probably a little bit better than the one for Texas. New York likes to spend money. Maybe they might get him some help. I don't know what, but I like it for Marcus Semien. Maybe he'll hit more bombs. I don't know. He's got to pick it up regardless. And then, as we mentioned with the Sox, they really made an effort to bump up their starting rotation. They got Sonny Gray from St. Louis for Brandon Clark and Dickie Fitz, as we mentioned, former Bod. Also, a former Bod, Johan Oviedo, going to the Sox for Youngstison Garcia, the password. I like that trade as well. Garcia is going to get some work with the Pirates. We'll see. Oviedo, maybe he might be a guy. As we mentioned, that trade in some of these guys, some of these closers, these former closers now, no longer. Jose Ferrer, he goes to Seattle for Harry Ford. That seemed like a very strange trade, by the way. Harry Ford, one of the better prospects for Seattle. Ferrer, a closer type, I guess, and they already have Matt Brash in Seattle, so I don't know why they needed another guy, but you can never have too much good relief pitching, in my opinion. So it's a fine trade. I'm just not sure why Washington wanted to make that one. Either way, a couple of minors guys. Daniel Suzak, a former Bod, he used to play for the Athletics. Now he's with the Giants, and there's a chance that he might make the team. Yoniel Corrette goes to Philly from Tampa. Is he going to be something? I don't know. He got DFA'd by the Rays, so he was a former Bod, Yoniel Corrette. Guy was crazy good, almost 100-mile-an-hour fastball. Plenty of action on his off speed. Got a lot of Ks. This year he got hurt. Not sure what was going to happen with him. But now he's with the Phillies organization. I don't know. There's questions there. But regardless, he's not on the team right now. So we don't have to worry about it. Going up the list. We'll talk about this in a sec about my Royals, right? Isaac Collins traded from Milwaukee. Again, why are they trading these good batters with control? Isaac Collins, batted .264 last year. Wasn't incredible, but he wasn't a bum. We'll get there, but you get Isaac Collins and Nick Mears going to Kansas City for Angel Zerpa, who was the bane of Michael Wacha's existence and the Bahds' existence, because there was many games where he would give up inherited runners, and that would drive me absolutely insane. Going up the list, Luis Perales going to Washington from Boston, another trade that was big. Appears that Washington's really trying to beef up, trying to rebuild, which looks good, and we'll see about a couple of our guys here in a sec. Shane Baz going to Baltimore for a collection of good young players from Baltimore to the Rays. I like that trade a lot. For the Rays, the Rays are just really beefing up. They know how to scout. They really are able to do a lot with a little. They're kind of like the A's of the East, but with more postseason success. So I like what I saw there. Going up, Jake Mangum, Brandon Lau going to Pittsburgh. They kind of been involved in a huge trade where Anderson Brito, former Bod, involved in a trade with the old Joey. Jacob Melton going to the Rays, and Mikey Burrows going to the Astros. There's some who say that Michael Burrows might be a guy. That might be like an SP, 4 or 5 for a team, something like that, right? Because, that Houston pitching lab, as they say, maybe Burrows was decent last year. He wasn't bad for Pittsburgh. Didn't pitch a ton of innings, wasn't going 200, but sub-4 ERA, he was effective. Again, he's already been taken off the league, so that's unfortunate. But we'll see what Mangum can do. I liked Mangum. He was a bot for a little bit. He had minors eligibility. We brought him up. He would steal bags, get singles. He wouldn't strike out a ton. Not bad. But that Pirates offense has definitely been retooled. It's actually funny. The Bahds account, we replied to a couple of Pirates tweets about Paul Skeens, and I tweeted at him at them at the Pirates saying, "Get man some help." The tweet got one like from guess who? Spencer Horwitz, the starting first baseman, liked the tweet. Now, he thought, oh well, it's some fan named Spencer Horwitz, right? Whatever. They like that stuff all the time. Click on this Spencer Horwitz Twitter account. Firstly, it's the only Spencer Horwitz on Twitter. There's no other people named that. And the Pirates are following them. So I think that might be his own personal Twitter. And he was liking stuff about, chastising the team about not getting Paul Skeens some help. So clearly they listened, and they got Ryan O'Hearn, and they also got Mangum and Lau. So they're really beefing up. Again, with the Sox trading away their young guys, they get another former Bod and Wilson Contreras, current player on Nick Beach's team. Like that trade. Jeff McNeil going to the A's. Some are saying he might be the guy, especially playing in a smaller field like that. We will see. A couple of no names, but you saw Miami make a big trade. Edward Cabrera going to the Cubs for Owen Casey and a couple other minor leaguers. Casey could be a player, could make the team, highly touted prospect. I like what Miami's doing. Say what you will about them taking, but I like it. I think they're going to get a ton of great bats. So we will see. As the clock turned, 2026, another big trade. Nolan Arenado going to Arizona from St. Louis. And, in his first at bat against his former team, the Rockies, he goes yard in spring training. So some are saying that Nolan Arenado might be the bounce back. There has been trade discussions amongst the Bahds and Nick Beach for Nolan Arenado, because Nolan Arenado on Nick's team right now. So We'll have to see. There's the stove is lukewarm on that one. So I'd love to make a trade happen. I like Arenado. I think he's got some good years. That's the thing about our team. We love the old guys. We don't care how old you are as long as you're producing. Another big trade from Miami. They got a ton of Yankees prospects, but Ryan Weathers, another former Bahd, goes to the Yankees. Kind of should have kept that. We had that situation last offseason where we tried to skirt rules a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, where we kept like 6 or 7 injured guys on our team before the draft or before the year started. We're like, oh well, we'll move them once, whatever, and we had to drop a bunch. Which we dropped some guys. We kept some guys. It kind of was a wash in the end. But one of the guys we dropped was Ryan Weathers, and then of course Bouchard picks him up and makes us look silly. So, granted, Weathers was hurt a lot last year, but he is effective and he is young. So, and that might be the name of the game in Dynasty. Either way, Gavin Lux gets moved to the Rays. The Rays have a couple guys. There's no real star, except for Caminero and of course our guy Chandy Simpson, but not much there. A couple more big trades. We saw Luis Robert Jr. traded from the Sox to the Mets to kind of complete that outfield. Luis Angel Acuna comes back. The switch hitter, right? The switch hitter for the Sox comes back. Love that trade. Some are saying Luis Robert he's going to be a bounce back guy. I know Noah has him on his team, albeit in his injured slot, and who knows if he's going to even be healthy. He was hurt for a lot of last year. We'll see. Another big trade again. Milwaukee, who knew they were going to be such sellers? They trade Tobias Myers, who's not a bum. It's not just a throw-in. He's a guy. But Freddie Peralta, the main part of that deal for Jet Williams, Brandon Sproat. I thought Milwaukee got fleeced. Don't get me wrong. Jet Williams and Brandon Sproat are good players. They got upside, but Freddie Peralta is a dog. And Tobias Myers is not nothing. I thought they could have gotten a little bit more than just these two dudes. But either way, Milwaukee, they know how to do a lot with a little as well. So same kind of thing. Another big move made that's the very next day. Mackenzie Gore traded for a whole host of prospects from the Nationals to the Rangers. So Rangers kind of shore up their rotation. Gavin Fiend, top draft choice. Abimelec Ortiz, Devin Fitzgerald, and our dog, who we've kept on for this long, Alejandro Rosario, who former Padres guy, but then got traded in the Juan Soto trade, playing for Washington. Dude was electric in 2024, had one of the highest K rates in minors, gets injured, doesn't know what the hell he's doing in 2025. You thought, oh, maybe he'll get TJ, maybe he won't. So that's why we kept him. Then we didn't know what was happening. There was no news, but we had to keep him because he was so good. Then he announced he's getting TJ this year. Like, why not get the surgery last year so you don't have to waste an entire year? And lo and behold, we're wasting 2 fantasy seasons keeping this guy on, which, whatever. He's that good, so I'm fine wasting a minor slot on him. But I digress. Anyway, a couple kind of no-name trades, if you ask me. Edward Julian and Pearson Ole. Ole we had on our team for a smidge because he was really good in AAA for Minnesota. Edward Julian, the pride of Travis's, or no, it's actually Noah's team. Noah still has him on the squad. Not exactly sure. Julian is definitely increased fantasy stock now that he's in Colorado, but wasn't really that good in his couple seasons. Especially last year for the Twins. So maybe he might be a guy this year. Maybe that's why they're keeping him. Either way, turn February, the big trade that we've seen, Brendan Donovan finally getting traded. We knew that the Cardinals are clearly selling right now. He goes to Seattle. Ben Williamson goes to the Rays, and then a couple prospects go to the Cards. Love the trade. Clearly the Cards are looking to do something. But Brendan Donovan, beast, and Seattle gets even better. Nothing wrong with that, really. Ben Williams, for Seattle to get Brendan Donovan and only have to give up Ben Williamson, that's awesome. And granted, they did give up John Hello, and I can't pronounce his last name, Sinchene, whatever you pronounce it. I can't pronounce it. But those are two good prospects, I'm not going to lie. Brendan Williamson was a guy-ish. Maybe not a fantasy guy, but certainly a guy. And yeah, you give him up, but Brendan Donovan's a legit bat, and he can play the outfield multiple positions. I mean, for fantasy purposes, you love it. If you're Nick Beach, so sure he was thanking his lucky stars. He's on a good team. As we mentioned with that Caleb Durbin trade, again, Milwaukee being sellers. And to be honest, I hated this trade. I think they sold way too much. Maybe they think Kyle Harrison's going to be a guy, but I just don't. I don't know why the hell they did that. They gave up so much. They gave up Caleb Durbin, Dog, Mighty Mouse, former Bod. We gave him up. We shouldn't have done that. He would have been our third baseman, right? He was kind of iffy towards the end of last year, but he was certainly good. I mean, he hits for power sometimes. He can get on base, steals bags. He's only 5'8" or whatever it is, 5'6". Short guy, but certainly strong. So they give him up. Andrew Monasterio, Anthony Siegler, competitive balance picks, all for Kyle Harrison and David Hamilton. What? What are we doing? And Shane Drohan as well. I don't know. Monasterio, kind of a guy. He played some games for fantasy purposes, not really a guy, but I liked him. I don't know why they needed to do that. Either way, I digress. Going through more of these trades again in February, not a ton. I think the biggest trade in late February, at least up until currently, was the Jesus Sanchez trade for Joey Loperfido from Houston, Toronto. I love it for Toronto. Sanchez, a guy that hits for so much pop, but the righty-lefty splits are just so messed that you can't play him every day. But here's the issue, and he's also not a great defender. But here's the issue, really. Firstly, before this trade happened, right? And this is partly, we'll get into this a little bit later. Part of it was that Toronto had too many cooks in the kitchen. They had too many outfielders. They needed to replace, obviously, losing Bo Bichette. You don't love that. You need to replace a guy like that. So that was the big question. It's all right, how do we replace him? Can we do it? But you have Barger. You have Dalton Varsho, Miles Straw, who's but then you got Nate Lucas, right? And then you have Anthony Santander. So the outfield is full of guys. But then Santander goes down with his shoulder thing. Thank God he's not on our team anymore, right? So getting the Sanchez pick, it's a good one because it gives you that versatility of the guy who mashes, who hits absolute bombs. High exit velocity, whatever you want to say. I love it. And Loperfido, I just don't think he was going to get any action. Now in Houston, will he get action? I don't know. But he hit for average last year. He hit over 300. So limited ABs. We'll see what happens. But anyway, that's kind of the wrap-up of the trades going around Major League Baseball. Now, in terms of injuries, things have definitely gone for the worse for a couple teams, namely the Atlanta Braves, which does help us, which we do like. We have not really been bitten by the injury bug thus far, knock on wood. But, it opened up a spot for our dog, that being Grant Holmes, who was going to be fighting for a spot, the fifth starter spot. Now he is comfortably in the driver's seat for us. Atlanta Braves, Hurston Waldrep, Spencer Schwellenbach. We already knew Smith Shawver was out with TJ, for the year. We knew that was already happening. But Schwelly and Waldrep, it was so funny. Connor and I talking about it last week. These guys might be competing, and then bam, they're out for the season. So not ideal. These bone spurs, these loose bodies. Yeah, a lot of pitchers having their elbows. Not ideal. So that helps us, but yeah, kind of Kind of sucks for the rest of the teams. I believe Joey has Schwelly, and I believe Tristan has Waldrop. So sucks for them, but we'll take that. And that's why, in part, we picked up our boy Didier Fuentes in the minors slot, because there's a good chance that he might come up, although Atlanta optioned him to AAA Gwinnett on Wednesday, so maybe not so fast, but we will see. Bryce Elder is probably going to get the starting pitcher gig anyway, or maybe Martin Perez. You never know. Again, that's why we picked him up, just in case, but either way. In terms of some more injuries, we see a lot of guys that have gone out as of recent. Romy Gonzalez, we saw him injury. Maybe he'll be back. Jonathan Long got injured today. He's day-to-day. He's not going to be out for the year. But kind of going down the list a little bit here. Chris Bryant, such a shame for the Rockies. There's a good chance he never plays baseball again, which would be absolutely tragic. You hate to see that. A lot of guys that are kind of like rehabbing, a lot of guys that could be injured. I mean, something that we're watching, talking with Commissioner Nick Beach, the Houston Astros situation with Josh Hader. I mean, Nick has Brian Abreu, a former BOD guy that's, clear eighth inning guy. He's going to get holds. He's going to get Ks. Guaranteed like 5 or 6 piece, depending on the night, right? Hader right now, as of February 18th, played catch to about 90 feet Wednesday. So he's coming back from a biceps injury. Maybe he comes back, but there are some question marks there. So, it appears like Abreu would be the next guy up. I don't know who else would fit into that slot. So that's a big question. The Angels right now, their closer situation, that's completely up in the air. Robert Stevenson, a guy. Ben Joyce is still out, but he's been throwing. So we'll see who's able to recover quickest here. Excuse me, Kike Hernandez going out on the 60-day IL with an elbow injury for the Dodgers. I don't like to talk about them, so we won't. Let's see who else we got here. Not a ton of horrible injuries just yet, but the Twins certainly feeling it right now. The big one, of course, being Pablo Lopez, who is going to get TJ, unfortunately, next Wednesday. So he's gone for the year. Then Joe Ryan was supposed to start today. He then gets removed from the game with lower back soreness or something. He got an MRI. Maybe he's gone for a little bit. David Festa, he's trying to get back in. So the Twins, they're cooked. Their rotation is absolutely cooked. So load up on some minor leaguers for the Twins while you can at this point. But we will see. So there's that. Kind of going down the list. Again, a lot of guys kind of rehabbing. Anthony Volpe, he's not going to start the year on time. A couple of our BODs aren't probably going to start the year on time. Griffin Canning, Jason Adam, Justin Steele. Steele most likely is not going to start the year on time. But there are some question marks about Adam and Canning. We'll get to those guys in a little bit here. But yeah, a lot of guys that are big question marks. Zach Wheeler being one of them. Is he going to come back? Jared Jones. I mean, he's throwing at least for Pittsburgh. Yuki Matsui for the Pods. Also, left growing tightness, so he's probably not going to pitch in the WBC. We'll see what happens with him. Let's see what else we got. Riley O'Brien, another thing. You're talking about those closers, right? So he's going to be shut down. A mild calf strain, they say. I doubt it's gonna not set him up for the beginning of the season as the closer. There's a big closer competition with him and our dog, that being Jojo Romero. So we'll see if he gets the call. I don't know. There's big question marks, right? Edwin Uceta, another closer type guy, got an MRI. There's inflammation and a slight impingement on his shoulder, so he's out, which then opens up the door for Garrett Clevenger or Griffin Jacks down in Tampa. We will see what happens there. Chandler Simpson, probably one of our only hitters right now who is a little bit testy. He's out of the lineup day-to-day right now. I believe, a leg injury of some sort. We will see. Taylor Walls, no, I guess he's in position to begin the season as Tampa's top shortstop per MLB.com. So we do not like that because we want Carson Williams to be our guy. We will see. Or maybe we put Carson Williams back in the minor slot. We bring someone up into our active roster. We will see. Jimmy Garcia will not be ready for opening day, so that gives Jeff Hoffman the for sure closer spot for Toronto. You got to wonder who's going to take over in the pen for him. Maybe a Louis Varland becomes the setup guy. So that's a guy to watch out for. Louis Varland, former BOD as well. I believe a BOD draft pick. Don't quote me on that. Let's see. Trevor Williams. Not that he was going to be a guy for the Nats either, but he's been shut down from throwing after experienced soreness in his surgically repaired elbow. A ton of pitchers that have been kind of on the mend. Susanna, I guess apparently in October, underwent surgery to repair a right lat tear. So currently he's out. We will see when he comes back. Susanna, obviously, our Miners' dog, one of their top prospects for the Nats. So that's the current injury situation. Oh, and then also, I forgot about the Baltimore Orioles, but they have that current situation with Jordan Westberg, who has a partially torn UCL in his right elbow. We saw a lot of hamate injuries. Forgot I mentioned those. Jackson Holiday being one right after the trade. As I mentioned, Anthony Santander with his shoulder. He's out. Who else do we have? Corey Seager, I believe, broke his hamate. And Corbin Carroll as well. So, and those guys might return by opening day. But currently makes things a little bit weird, especially with the WBC happening. Things are a little bit strange. So that is a couple of the updates from the general MLB, injuries, trades, thoughts. We'll talk closers, and then we'll talk about the Royals here in a moment. But either way, the closer situation, I think every fantasy player's thing is just to go to the closer depth chart on Fangraphs, which is, I'm upset that I never found this sooner. Like, what the hell? Why have you been keeping this from me, right? Everybody is on here. You see every single team in their situation. That's partly why we picked up the guys we picked up. So, namely for the Twins, that being Taylor Rogers, who, as of Fangraphs right now, is still listed as the one closer on the Twins. Justin Topa and Funderburk might be guys. I don't know. The Twins, I'm down to drop Rogers as soon as someone tells me. But I'm just pissed off because we have a setup, a closer by committee with three guys on a bad team that no one wants. Or we have a ton of players who are, taken. So, like Emilio Pagan on Tristan's team. Danny Palencia on Bouchard's team. Santana got. A lot of times, we could have picked up both Ginkel and Sewald, who are currently the co-closers in Arizona right now. Because Andrew Saalfrank, who we had, we thought, that guy could be the closer. Well, next day he goes on the 60 IL. He's gone for the U.S. surgery right after we pod. So, unfortunately, I was literally the pod last week with Connor, and the very next day, three guys we mentioned get hurt. So, maybe it's the curse of the pod. I don't know. We'll see tomorrow if some guys get hurt. But right now, I'm annoyed at the lack of clarity for closers. And I told Connor this. I said, if we got money, we're spending it on closers because that's the one thing we needed. We had decent starters last year. They weren't groundbreaking, but they got the job done. But every of the good teams has good closers, and that's kind of what we need. We need the guy that's going to get, a 10-piece here or there, and they might have a bad game, but you take the good with the bad because we only have a certain amount of starts a week, and we need that extra help come Sunday. We could get a save, a 10-piece or a 12-piece. That matters. So we will see. I think we gotta get lucky as it stands. We gotta have some guys go down or some guys kind of pull out of the smoke, so to speak. Like maybe if a Jordan Romano wins the job. Like, that would be amazing. Or if, we pick up a guy like Justin Sterner for the Athletics, who could become the guy who's available right now. Or maybe we even see Rodgers become a guy. It would be fun, but just a lot of question marks as it stands. So it's unfortunate. We really should have kept a lot of these. I mean, David Bednar, Aroldis Chapman, we all had at one point. We had them. Let's see, who else did we have that we dropped? I mean, Brady, we had him dropped. Robert Garcia, we had him dropped. I still don't like him, to be honest. I still think can't be trusted. But, I mean, we got Clayton Beeter in our minor slot, which he's co-closer right now with Cole Henry, allegedly, for Washington. I like it. I'd love it to continue, because that would be another feather in our cap. But, I mean, Palencia, he got picked up off waivers by Bouchard. We could have got that. Santana, same thing. He wasn't owned. Riley O'Brien, same thing. I mean, we got Jojo Romero, which is great, but, or Victor Vodnik. Could have had that. We had him. We dropped him. Same thing. So, there's plenty of possibilities. It's just a matter of, do we bet enough on them, and do we strike at the right time? So that's the question. But anyway, final general MLB thought is to talk about the Kansas City Royals. I don't know why, but I like the Royals. I mean, we have a ton of the Bahds on the squad. Bahds on the squad. So you look at it in terms of our hitters. We don't have any Kansas City hitters, which thank God, because their offense is absolute garbage. We don't have any minors. We used to. We had a couple back in the day, but we used to have. We just dropped him. That being, I'm blanking on his name. Miners John. We're just gonna have to pull up the history here. Catcher Blakey Mitchell. Excuse me. We have Blake Mitchell, a top 100 guy who really hasn't done anything. I don't know why they're ranking him so highly, because he's got a good arm, good defensively, but mainly it's our pitchers, namely Noah Cameron and Michael Wacha, Carlos Estevez, who we picked up recently, all Kansas City Royals. So we're always rooting for the Royals whenever they're pitching, because we need them to do good. Do we have any? We had Frank Mozzicato, who was a former Royals guy, but no longer right now. So the reason why I put the Royals on here is because I like the Royals. I think they're fun. They're a fun team. I love their pitchers. They got so much depth, and they absolutely fleeced the Pods for Freddie for me. They fleeced them. They got two legit starters that they used last year. Now, were they able to score any runs? They did not, because their offense is trash. But they got two legit starters in Ryan Berger and Steven Kolick, Kolick a former Bod. But we had to drop him because we didn't have enough space. And we realized we don't need any more starters. We need relievers. So he got dropped. Also, there's a very, 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 very high chance that he starts the year in AAA, and they keep him as a starter until they need to bring someone up. But I mean, the Royals, they have great arms. Berger, as I mentioned, he's a dog. Kolick, also good. For the record, they're not blow you away. They have a lower ERA, and I don't know why I like them so much, but they're just underrated. I just love underrated guys. Like I think they get the job done, and both Kolick and Berger had like really good performances on the Royals after being with the Pods. Like I thought that was cool. And all for a catcher, great move by them. They also got Mitchie Spence, trade with Athletics. So the Royals have so much depth pitching wise. They don't have a ton of like good prospects, but they have like a lot of really good arms in the system. So they could bring up anybody at any given notice. Now their offense it's absolutely abysmal. I mean it's embarrassing to look at what they have offensively. I mean, yeah, like Markel Garcia, Bobby Witt, Vinny Pasquantino, amazing. Salvi, still solid. He's going to hit bombs. His best days are behind him because he Ks a lot, but he's a legend in the game. Then they got Caglione, who's fine. Some would say that he's going to be a guy this year. We'll see. Jonathan India, last year he was bad. It wasn't great. Carter Jensen, we should have got that. That guy is an absolute beast. I think he's going to go off. I love that guy. And then Isaac Collins, right? They traded for him. Guy last year that, again, hit 260. I thought, at least fantasy-wise, he was a guy I was keeping my eye on all the time. He just wasn't getting the starts, right? Taking a look at his stats, played 1 year in 2024, was kind of meh. Last year, my apologies, 263, 9 homers, 54 RBIs in 130 games, 16 stolen bags, 57 walks, 93 Ks. He had, let me do my math real quick, 34 extra base hits, a 779 OPS. The guy's 27. Like, I don't know. I liked it. And then they traded him for Angel Zerpa, and they also, I don't know. I can't believe they made that deal. But either way, I like Isaac Collins and left. That is a definite upgrade. Their outfield was trash. Last year was awful. One of the worst in baseball. Kyle Isbell. What are we doing? Come on, Royals. So, yeah, Nick Lofton, Tyler Tolbert, Lane Thomas, Michael Massey. Massey, former Bod. We love you back in 2024, but last year just wasn't doing it for me. And I believe he was on Mark's team anyway. But when the Royals have a rotation such as this, Cole Reagans, Michael Wacha, Chrissy Bubich, Seth Lugo, Noah Cameron, sub-4 ERA type guys, will they repeat this year? We will see. Who knows? But when you have guys that can get outs and give you 6 strong quality starts, you need a defense that's going to show up. And they just never showed up, and it pissed me off. But now they seem to be adding some guys. Collins, okay. We will see. Then you got Jensen, who I really like. I'm pissed off that Mark got him because, wow. I mean, that guy is certainly talented. So I think, I like that they made that Collins trade, but then they didn't do anything else. Like, they might have been in the running for O'Hearn. There was rumbles that they were going to do something, and they haven't. It's like, Royals, you guys you're sitting on gold with this rotation. You have a rotation that so many teams want. You look at other squads, like the Braves, like they're having to start Bryce Elder. so many teams. I mean, even the Phillies right now, there's questions about their rotation because they're all hurt. I mean, they're Phillies. Chris Sanchez, beast. Luzardo, beast. Nola, trash last year, might be the guy this year. But they're starting Taijuan Walker, Andrew Painter, great pitcher, unproven though. So your number 4 guy is Taijuan Walker, or you could have a Noah Cameron as your 5th guy. So I don't know. I really hate teams like all the AL Central teams, like the Royals, the Guards, who have amazing arms. They have one of the best pitching teams in the league, and they don't support them with bats. It's frustrating. I hate that. You have money, spend it. You are not broke. Stop acting like you're broke. Yes, you're not the Dodgers, but you can still afford to spend 10 mil or 20 mil here or there to get players. So anyway, I digress. But that's all my general MLB thoughts for you. All right, folks, that has been the first part of 3 of the second episode of the podcast. Keep it right here on the podcast for part number 2. We're talking Padres, so keep it here. Check you out on the next video.